All right, everybody, welcome once again to another brand spanking new edition of the Mr. Eccentric podcast. I am your host, as always, Rick. Today I am flying solo, no guest today. First and foremost, man, I want to shout out you, the listener, as always. Appreciate y'all checking in with me every time I drop an episode. I mentioned last time that I didn't have any listeners from Australia or South America. So today I am more than happy to announce that we finally got some listeners in Australia. So shout out to you in Australia. If somebody shared it with a friend or family member that they have in Australia, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. But my South American friends, my South American listeners, man, come on, share that thing with somebody. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member. I still do not have one single listener from South America. So, everybody listening right now, if you got a friend or a family member down in South America, I don't care what country, it could be any country. Brazil, I'm looking at you because I got some people down in Brazil. So, I'm kind of sad that none of y'all have listened to my podcast yet. So, hopefully, next time I tune in with you guys, I can announce that I have listeners in South America now. So do y'all thing, all right? The reason why I bring up the listeners, I've gotten some great feedback regarding the show so far in a few episodes that I dropped. So thank you for that, and I appreciate it. One of the things I've heard the most is that people want to hear from me more, right? People want to hear about me. They want to know who I am, and they want to get a feel for who Rick of Mr. Eccentric is, you know? So, spoiler alert, I had planned a very specific episode for that somewhere down the line for specific reasons and whatnot. But I thought to myself, you know what? The whole point of engaging with a community is listening to feedback and whatnot. So I wanted to do something different today, have a different type of episode, and just dive into a few little random things about myself, right? Now, the reason why I chose today, there is a reason why I chose today, is because today happens to be February 19th. What's February 19th, you might ask? I'm glad you asked, actually. February 19th is my birthday. That's right. Today is a motherfucker's birthday. Clap it up for me. Come on, man. Clap it up. Clap it up. Come on, people. Come on. Give it up for me, yo. Give it up. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Today is my birthday. So I thought to myself, what better way to spend my birthday than kicking back with my little community, with my listeners, and just having a quick conversation with y'all. Hopefully, y'all could learn a little bit more about me in the process as we go along. But I will say this, I do promise that I got a couple of great ideas down the line that are going to reveal who Rick really is. But we'll get started today. As I mentioned, today is my birthday. Shout out to my wife holding it down. She planned out an amazingly beautiful weekend getaway, so we're having the best time. It's great to get away from the kids as well, so it is just her and myself this weekend enjoying my birthday. So it's always good to have some adult time, right? Because, you know, that's one of the things where when you have kids, people always assume that your life is just completely going to stop, right? And one thing, you know, and I've mentioned before on other podcasts and whatnot, shout out to Martini Jean on the Inquisitive Nobody podcast. I've mentioned to him before, you know, one of the things that was kind of tough for my wife and I was the fact that we got married. You know, we had our son a little bit before we got married, you know, so we never got to just be married, just be husband and wife without also being parents, you know. So every once in a while we do like to separate from the kids and just enjoy time together, just the two of us, you know. One of the things we decided we'd do is, like, on our 5th anniversary, where we did a solo trip, was essentially kind of like a honeymoon. And then on our 10th anniversary, we did a vow renewal. So we want to keep that tradition moving forward. So now on the 15th, which is coming up pretty soon, we're going to do another solo trip, another, you know, kind of honeymoon situation. And then when we get to 20, we'll do another vow renewal, and then 25, you know, solo trip, 30 vow renewal, and so on and so forth, you know. But that doesn't mean we're going to wait a whole 10 years to get a trip together, right? So any opportunity we can ever find to be able to get away, just her and I, maybe sometimes it's an overnight, maybe it's a full weekend, you know, on the rare occasion, maybe we get some more days beyond a weekend, you know, but we always enjoy those times. We love our kids, but, you know, we love quiet time to ourselves too. So being able to just be an adult and kick it with my boo thing for the weekend and celebrate my birthday has been pretty damn awesome, you know. She's My wife is an interesting gift giver. She's gonna hate me saying this. She's gonna get on me. But I've told her before, like early on. See, here's the thing. I'm a very like I'm a very specific gift giver. I like to try to make sure I give the best gift all the time. So a lot of times when kids are coming back my way, I'm not necessarily I don't look for gifts, like I prefer to give gifts rather than receive them. So when I'm receiving them, like to me, it's like, all right, thank you. I appreciate it. But my wife has done an amazing job now. Like, I mean, we've been together for a minute. So over the course of our relationship, she's done an amazing job of evolving her gift giving. So, and the past handful of years, I could without a doubt say like she's hit home runs almost every time, anytime she's given me a gift. Being able to plan a surprise weekend getaway, especially since anytime we do trips, anytime we do any type of getaways or anything, generally I'm the one that plans everything. So her being able to plan a little weekend getaway for me as a surprise was much appreciated. She did it for me for my 40th birthday. One of the best trips I've ever taken, was out to Colorado. We went on a nice, awesome week-long ski adventure in the mountains in Colorado, and that was on her. She put that together because we weren't able to go to Europe. That was the original plan. I was going to go to Europe for a ski trip. Things fell apart. I couldn't go. I got my feelings, and I was all pissed off. I was mad. I was like, I didn't want to do anything. And shout out to my wife. She was like, nah, it's your 40th birthday. We are absolutely going to do something. And she pushed me to make sure that I didn't act like a little baby and throw away my entire celebration. And she played a key role in making sure that I celebrated me. So that's one thing I'm big on when it comes to birthdays in general. Celebrate yourself. Like I feel like everybody should take their birthday extremely seriously. I know some people who are just like, it's just another day, not a big deal. Absolutely not, man. That is your day. If there is one day in the year that you can stop and say, hey, today is all about me. Sure, you're not the only person ever born on your actual birthday. I get it. Shout out to my birthday twins out there. um, but at the same time, it is your day, and everybody should always make sure they celebrate themselves on their birthday. But you got to make sure you celebrate yourselves with the people you love as well. So once again, all of y'all locked in right now, thank you for celebrating my birthday with me. Now, not for nothing, the best gift I've ever gotten was from my wife. You know what I'm saying? So, and she knows this. Without a doubt, my daughter is the best gift my wife ever gave me. And, we have two kids. I have my son and my daughter. My son is older. My daughter's younger. So nobody ever wants to sit here and say, hey, look, they got a favorite child, so don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to sit here and say I love my daughter any more than I love my son. I love my son without a shadow of a doubt, obviously. Both my kids are amazing. They are the best kids in the world, as annoying as they can be. But I love them dearly, obviously. So when my wife got pregnant the first time, I had always wanted a daughter, right? So that was the whole thing. Everybody knew, all my family and everything. So, you know, it ended up being a boy. Great, amazing. Not like I didn't want my son, right? Absolutely adore my son, love my son. And the only reason I say that my daughter was the best gift my wife ever gave me is because obviously I can't carry a child. Duh, right? So, as much as I wanted a daughter, it was always going to be up to my wife to let me know when she was ready for that. And again, as much as I love my son and still do, I guess, I would imagine that my wife felt like, hey, at the very least, I know this is something my husband wants, and I want to try to be able to do this for him. And it was her idea when it came time to try again and have a second child. So that's why I say my daughter's the best gift that I've ever received, is because my wife was the one who decided on her end, hey, I'd like to try this again and see if we can have this baby girl that you have always wanted. So that for me is always going to be the best gift I've ever received, just because she decided that she wanted to move forward with that, because it's something that she wanted to be able to do for me is to get me my little girls, you know. So now it's perfect. I got the perfect pair, right? Like that's what you always want is big brother, little sister. So I'm so beyond blessed and fortunate to be able to have the pair. Now we just got to get the white picket fence and the dog, and we'll be all set, you know. Yeah. I mentioned giving gifts, right? I feel like me, I'm a very particular gift giver. One thing on the opposite end is like I'm a gift hoarder, right? That's one thing I kind of found out about myself is I'm a gift hoarder. So like when I get an amazing gift, something that I do feel like, oh my God, like this is dope. Like you put a lot of thought and effort into this. This is something that I really, really love and appreciate. Like I take it and then like I put it away like somewhere like I can see it but I don't necessarily use it for its purpose if that makes sense, you know, whatever it is, you know, like I'm so captivated by the fact that you know, I've got this great gift and I'm like, man, this is awesome. And then like in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to use it too much and then I don't have it anymore or whatever the case may be. So that's why I found myself like I started thinking about it recently. It's like, man, I'm really a gift hoarder, you know, just like I'll go through stuff like in my closet, for example, I'll go through my closet and I'll be like, oh, here's something I got from whoever at whenever time and I loved it so much, but it's just sitting here in the back of the closet because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to use it. I don't want to run it down, you know. So it's this weird kind of like space where you can appreciate the hell out of an amazing gift, but then at the same time now you want to preserve it as best as possible, even if it means not even using it for whatever purpose it was meant for, you know. So like that's kind of like a toxic trait of mine, you know, if I would say so, like as far as being a gift hoarder, that's definitely a toxic trait, you know. Toxic traits. That's another funny conversation too. Like I'm thinking, um, man, another toxic trait of mine is that I look for different all the time. Like I'm totally obsessed with different. I'm always looking for the different route, right? I'm totally obsessed with different. Like the term don't reinvent the wheel, I feel like that was made specifically for me. Like you ask me a question and I know the easy answer and the easy process, but I take it as a challenge to be like, well, how about I come up with a new answer or a new process, you know? And I feel like it's detrimental, right? Because it leads to a situation where, yeah, you want to be innovative and you want to be new and fresh, but at the same time, you can just be efficient, you know? So I find myself balancing that all the time where it's like, stop trying to think you've got the next best idea all the time or the next best process all the time or the processes in place need to be changed and updated. Though sometimes that may be the case, but I feel like sometimes I kind of overdo it where it's like, no, no, let's scrap this and start completely fresh and do a brand new thing, you know? I think another one of my toxic traits is that I expect me out of everybody. That's something that I'm starting to really, really be a lot more cognizant of and really pay close attention when I'm doing it. But you know, like it goes beyond, like let's put it in a work aspect, right? Being in a managerial role as long as I was, well, as long as I've been, because I still am. It's I I I remember getting to a point where I transitioned whenever I'm working with a team or whatnot, where I've always expected them to know something. It's like, hey, you were trained and you were taught this and you should know it, you know? And it's like I put myself in the mindset of, okay, well, I remember when I started here, I learned all of this stuff. I was taught all of this stuff, and this is all basic level stuff. So if you work here by default, you should know all this stuff, you know? So that was always my mindset. So I transitioned that to pretty much like all walks of life, not necessarily to say that's where it derived from. I think it's just a toxic trait that I just happen to be born with, you know? But that's something I do a lot and I'm trying to work on is the fact that I expect myself from everybody. So if I know the answer, I expect that you should know the answer. And if you don't, then it's not like, oh, well, let me, you know, kind of educate you and teach you about it. It's, well, why wouldn't you know that? Everybody should know that, you know, and that's just because I know it, you know. Or talking about the gift giving situation, right? I go like through in and out. Like I really try to go above and beyond and get that perfect gift, something that's going to resonate, something that I heard from God knows when, way back, that I connected and make sure to kind of present to you and whatnot. So it's like if I do that for somebody and then they give me some random gift card, for example, for me it's like, well, really? That's it? But again, that's me expecting me out of someone else. That person may not have the type of capacity to really go that deep into gifts. I know there's a lot of people when it comes to like gift giving times, generally it's like, let's just get them a gift card or let's give them cash. They can get whatever it is they want, which ironically enough, as much as I love the concept of getting the perfect gift and getting the right gift, I'm also a proponent of, hey, look, if you don't know what to get somebody, hell yeah, give them cash, give them money. That way they can get something that they absolutely want or use it towards something that they need or whatever the case may be. And you know that whatever your gift was, in this case money, was used to its best, highest capacity at 100%. It was loved because that cash turned into something that person absolutely wanted to spend it on, wanted to get, wanted to do, someplace they wanted to go. So people who be like, oh man, I don't think you should give cash as a gift or whatnot. Nonsense. I get it. If you know specific things or at least have an idea of specific things that you could get someone that you know for sure they're gonna appreciate, yeah, go the extra mile and do that, right? But if you don't, as opposed to just shooting in the dark and getting a gift card or possibly getting them something that they may not even care for, why not give gifts, right? And be like, oh, well, why don't you just get them a gift and give them a gift receipt? Guess what? If you get somebody a shitty ass gift, if you get somebody a shitty ass gift that they don't want, a gift receipt doesn't help. Okay. That's a whole extra process, especially, like it's from a store that they may not even necessarily shop at or some bullshit like that. Fuck a gift receipt. Realistically, fuck that. If you're not sure about something, just give them cash. That's it. People love cash. Everybody loves cash. They'll love you more for it. They will love you a lot more for giving them cash than giving them a shitty gift with a gift receipt. I promise you. Oh man. But anyways, I digress. But yes, I do expect myself out of people too much. And I know that's something specific that I'm even realizing that I do with my son, and that's what enabled me to be able to identify it. So I can try to now tweak that specifically with him so that I can make sure I'm not stunning his growth or his confidence, and making sure he is learning things at his own pace, and that he is able to understand some of these things where I just don't have to assume that he should know it. That's one of those crazy dynamics when you're dealing with kids, is the fact that you can tell them something 1,000 times. Obviously, all my parents out there, y'all know the deal. You can tell these kids something 1,000 times and it won't stick. So the patience and the self-awareness has to be there in order to step back and say, okay, I understand this and it's easy for me, but this person is obviously having, some difficulties grasping it at the level that I am. And what can I do to help them, as opposed to just saying, well, you should know this. So that's another toxic trait of mine that I am definitely making sure that I'm being way more focused on. But that's it with the toxic trait stuff. I'm not going to sit here and give y'all all my secrets. Like I said, we've got tons of episodes to go down the line, and y'all going to learn a whole lot more about my toxic traits as we go down the line. But while we're here, if y'all got some toxic traits y'all want to go ahead and confess to, hit me in the comments. Let me know what y'all toxic traits are, all right? So last weekend was my nephew's birthday. Shout out to my nephew, little baby Stevie. He turned 2, so we got to celebrate his birthday last week. Yo, we got this weird thing going on in my family currently. So there's a stretch where it's about a month stretch where we've got nonstop birthdays. Like every week there's something going on. Coming into January, I want to say we get started probably in the 15th, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. going all the way to like the 19th of February, there's like a good 8 or 9 birthdays, you know? So shout out to my family, man. Q1 in my family is birthday central. If you're coming out of Christmas trying to replenish that bank account in my family, good luck, because there's a lot of birthdays that you got to deal with going into, mine. Actually, I actually cap off the madness. So I'm the last birthday in that stretch, so shout out to them. But anyways, last week was my nephew's birthday, so we got to celebrate my nephew. He turned 2, awesome time. But more than anything, I got to meet my second nephew, which is great. My brother and his wife had their second boy not too long ago, so we hadn't been able to meet him yet. So we got to meet him this weekend while celebrating his big bro's second birthday. So shout out to my brother and his wife on their 2 amazingly beautiful boys. So they did it right though. My wife and I, we waited 7 years apart. So my son is gonna be 14 soon. My daughter just turned 7. So my brother and his wife, they knocked it out. So they're only 2 years apart. They could kind of do everything at the same time. Plus, it's 2 boys, so like they're gonna be sharing stuff their entire life. I know this. I know this from experience because I got 2 brothers. I've got more siblings than that, but growing up in my household was just my 2 brothers, and my older brother is only 2 years older. My younger brother is only 1 year younger. So, you're talking the 3 of us pretty much growing up at the same time. So there's gonna be a lot of sharing going on. So hopefully they could they could get it together. But I bring it up to say, well, first and foremost, being an uncle is awesome. I hadn't had the opportunity to cross over into that threshold forever. I'm a little bitter, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little bitter simply because I gave both my brothers that amazing experience all the way back over 13 years ago, So I only finally get my shine. I finally got to get the official uncle label just 2 years ago with my guy, little baby Stevie. But now I got my second nephew, which is great. So I'm glad that while it did take me long to finally become officially an uncle, I got 2 back to back, so that's great. And this little guy's amazing, amazing. And I knew from jump, as soon as I knew his middle name specifically, that we were gonna have a connection. So my brother named his son Malcolm, middle name Wes. And Wes is my uncle and godfather who passed away years ago. Um, 99, if I'm not mistaken. Um, he was the one, he was the one. Like, he was the heart and soul of everything our family was, just his aura, his vibe, his energy. Everybody knew Wes. That was his name. His name was Wes. Everybody knew Wes. Everywhere you went, Wes was the center of attention. Anywhere you went, he was the vibe. A trendsetter. Like, when I tell you trendsetter, like, it's crazy how years later I go through old pictures of him. I'm talking old pictures of him, and here he is, chilling in Paris with a Versace trench coat and Louis Vuitton duffel, and we talking like late '80s. It was wild, And it's like back then I see him, he could walk into my house with that on, and back then I don't know what the hell he got on. So it's so crazy how now looking back and understanding the level of fly this dude was. I mean, a whole vibe, but he passed away, unfortunately, due to some complications with surgery. He had a cancerous brain tumor, and they went in, had surgery. Surgery was successful. That's the thing that kills me more than anything till this day. That's the worst part about it, is the fact that the surgery itself was successful, but then it was an allergic reaction to medication and treatment after the fact that got him. So, it sucks. It's been forever, obviously, so you never get over it. You start to kind of just kind of heal, and move forward. I can't even say move on, move forward, So, but my brother decided to bestow the name Wes to his second son as a middle name. And as soon as he told me the name, man, like I immediately was like, I can't wait to meet my nephew, you know? So it was awesome meeting him last week. It was the cutest thing in the world, man. Like he was sleeping most of the time, so you know he was finally awake. My wife actually had him because obviously, you know, neither one of us had seen him yet. So, well, forget us. We're at a birthday party for my older nephew, and I would imagine a lot of the people that were there hadn't seen the baby yet, you know. So the fact that he was sleeping for the most part when everybody first got there, everybody was kind of anxious to finally see him, you know. So he woke up and I was chill. I didn't do nothing, you know. But of course, once my wife had him, you know, and you know, I'm kind of hovering, I'm kind of hovering in the cut and just kind of paying attention, and I'm just like, all right, all right, all right, all right. I was like, nah, man, I need my time, you know, I need my time, and I got him from her, and it was absolutely amazing. He was wide eyed, his eyes opened up super bright, and he's staring right at me, you know, and it was great, you know, it was awesome. It's like um when you lose people, especially again, like we all have that one person in our family, right? We all have that person that we could point to, like, yeah, that's the person. They're the best of us, you know? And that was Wes for my family. Like no matter what, like he was level headed, forward thinking. He made smart decisions, but rooted within the values as well, because you know I'm Haitian. I come from a Haitian household, a Haitian family, so you know he's an immigrant. He's somebody who came into this country looking for you know, that American dream, and it was great. You know, it's funny, ironically his nickname is Blanc. So anybody, if you're Haitian or if you speak French, whatever, you know, Blanc means white, you know. So but that was his nickname. Everybody called him Blanc because, you know, it's kind of like calling him white boy. And the reason why, not necessarily white boy, because it was more thinking American boy. Don't think of it so much as white boy, but like American boy. And the reason why, it's because when he came over here, he hit the ground running. He immersed himself into the culture immediately, and he wanted to participate in every single part of that American dream, you know. So it was great. He was everybody's favorite uncle. No disrespect to my other uncles, man. I got some dope ass uncles. So no disrespect to my other uncles, you know, but he was everybody's favorite, you know. And even my other uncles, God bless them, they'll tell you he was everybody's favorite because he was their favorite too. You know. So I think one of the things for me that helped me get by was having my own son and seeing my kid and being able to say, hey, look, you know, I have an opportunity now to um, be something in somebody's life the same way he was in mine, you know. So it's like it's awesome. Even my dad, it's funny because like I have conversations with my dad now, and like I learn a lot more about my dad these days. Being an adult kind of allows you to kind of level out with your parents a bit more. And growing up, the relationship with my dad wasn't, you know, like I didn't have that cookie cutter, you know, sitcom relationship with my dad. I didn't have these types of conversations with my dad. My uncle Wes was who I went to with those conversations, you know, because especially for me, you know, like all of us, my siblings, cousins, we all went to him, you know. But for me it was a little bit different just because he was not only my uncle, but he was also my godfather. So he was always my guy, you know. So it wasn't until after he passed away where I started kind of really appreciating my dad more, and kind of seeking a better relationship with my dad to be able, you know, to understand like, yeah, I don't do these things with my dad because I think of him as this typical old school Haitian dad, you know. And here's my uncle slash godfather who's more Americanized and is going to understand the things that I'm going through because I'm being raised more Americanized, you know. And, you know, I realized that that wasn't fair to my dad at the time, you know. So that was one of the things where after my uncle passed away, you know, one of my main focuses was I want to be able to have an amazing relationship with my dad. And it started from then, and then it continued to grow. And then when I met my wife initially, you know, it started to move forward. Like my dad never cared about like anything, nothing, girls dating, nothing, none of that. And I remember introducing him to my wife for the first time, and like he's giving me the cosign like, hey, like you got something here, you know? And I'm sitting here like, we ain't never talked like that before. Like that we don't do this. This we don't do. Yeah, I'm trying. I know we're trying to have this great relationship, and I'm trying to build this. I was like, we've never done this, you know. So, that was one of those things where I was like, I know my wife is a real one because if my dad is stepping out of character, like, hey, bro, you got a real one, you know. But anyways, yeah, I know like that's how like my relationship progressed with my dad was again coming off of the death of my uncle, and then meeting my wife and getting to a point where as an adult I was able to communicate better with them, and then having kids too. Like I feel like once you have kids, forget about it. At that point you should be able to have any conversation with your parents because your parents are always going to be older than you. Obviously your parents are always going to always be your parents, obviously, so there's always going to be a level of respect there for those two factors. I get it, but in my opinion, once you're an adult, an actual adult, and by that I mean, obviously of age, you're out of the house, now you're experiencing similar things that your parents have experienced, right? Having your own house, being married, having children. That's the only way, in my opinion, that you're able to kind of level up with your parents, because the age gap is always going to be there. And then the obvious generation split of them being your parent and you being the child is always going to be there. But as a man who owns my own house, who is married and has kids, I feel like at the very least, I'm able to now sit at a table with my parents and have a discussion about just about anything and everything. And I try to, take advantage of that as best as possible because it's amazing, it's absolutely amazing. And I wish I would have been able to understand that I was able to communicate with my parents better at an earlier age. It is what it is, right? But at the very least, I know now and I do it moving forward, But it started with Wes. That's who the confidant used to be, and it was through him that I was able to build that relationship with my dad after the fact, because I understood how important that type of relationship was, and I was doing myself a disservice by not nurturing it with my dad as well, But anyways, like I said, man, now I got a second nephew, and hey, look, I'm never gonna call him Malcolm. It's he's never gonna be Malcolm to me. As far as I'm concerned, that's Wes. So that's my Wes, and that's my guy, man. That's my guy. He's the coolest little kid, So both my nephews, both my nephews, baby Stevie, man, yo, he's got a Lambo in the driveway. He's got a Benz in the driveway. I got a BMW here that was my daughter's that I'm gonna bring to him. It was awesome. We're sitting out there in the garage, and he's in the car, and he's just spinning around in the garage. Got his leg out on one end, yo. It was hilarious, man. Best time. So, being uncle is cool. After being a dad for going on 14 years now, it's like to finally now understand and know what it is to be an uncle. I love it, man. So definitely looking forward to my uncle duties here coming in the near future, as they are now twofold. So I get two crazy boys to be uncles to, and I can't I wouldn't have it any other way. Those of you who know me know I love to travel, right? So traveling for me is without a doubt one of my absolute favorite things. I just love to get away. I mentioned before, celebrating the birthday is like top of the list for me. Everybody should absolutely celebrate their birthday. But another thing too, people should absolutely travel. I feel like a lot of the absolute crazy nonsense we got going on in our country specifically comes from a place of ignorance, simply because people are not getting outside of their own regular norms and trying to get to know anything different, right? I told you guys I'm obsessed with different. I'm always looking for different. And I could say a positive part of that is the fact that that kind of fuels my love for travel. I want to see other things. I don't want to just see and know what it is that I live in, the environment that I live in, the people that I live in. You have to be able to step outside your box and see what else is out there. So I'm always looking for that. We've got a big trip coming up here that I'm super excited about. I cannot wait. Taking the kids on an awesome extended spring break, so we're looking very forward to that. I think the thing with travel specifically over the past handful of years is, obviously COVID came through and kind of put that to a halt, amongst other things. Not to sit here and say, oh man, the worst thing about COVID was the fact that you couldn't travel. Obviously, I knew there was a lot of other more pressing things that came with COVID. But one of the things that I did look at was the fact that, man, there were some of these great places that I've always loved to go and tried to go, had plans to go to during specific times where COVID came through and shut that down. And one of the things I've noticed more than anything is like 2023 feels like the first official year, kind of back from COVID, like where, now we are getting back to whatever normal is and is going to be going forward. You could kind of see that with all the different tours that are popping up. So many artists going on these big major tours and whatnot. So we're taking advantage. We're going to take advantage of that and say, hey, look, man, there's some trips that we had to cancel due to COVID. And, we've been dying to get the kids to certain destinations. So we're going to start to do it now with spring break. And we absolutely can't wait. But I bring that up so I can give you guys my current 5 favorite places to travel to. So first and foremost, it's going to sound stupid and corny, but it's New York, man. That's home. I'm from New York, moved down here long, long time ago. I'm actually coming up on 20 years here in Florida. May. May is going to make 20 years since I've been in Florida. So at this point, you're probably going to start saying I'm a true Floridian, right? I get it. With that said, New York is home always. And any chance I get to go back and visit home, I'm always up for it. It is my favorite place to go just because it is home. I do love everything about New York. Being from New York and my wife being from Jersey, we have this love and passion for the area, and we want to make sure that both of the kids know the area as well. We've got tons of family that all live up there still, so it's always great to get up there so that the kids can see the family and whatnot. That's another thing. If you haven't gotten the gist of it yet, is that I'm really big on family. I grew up around my cousins all the times, aunts and uncles as well too, so I want my kids to have that too. So the fact that we're down here and most of our family is up in New York and New Jersey, we get excited to be able to get back up there so that they can see family. So for me, New York is going to be always number one. I tell people who've never been to New York, you got to go at least twice, because you got to go in the winter, you got to go in the spring. Technically, you got to go 3 times because you got to go in the fall too. But then summers in New York is lit. So at minimum, at minimum, you've got to go to New York at least 4 times in all seasons. It's the most beautiful place in the world, in my opinion. I may be a little biased. But with that said, we're going to move on to the second most beautiful place in the world, Paris. Now, New York, for obvious reasons, I love, right? Even though I'm not from the city, I'm from right outside of the city, about half hour, 45 minutes outside of the city. New York City for me is just magic every single time you go, right? But again, I'll admit there's some bias there because I'm from the state of New York. With that said, home team excluded, Paris for me is my absolute favorite city. I love, love, love it. Ever since the first time we went, we have family over there. So growing up, we had the opportunity to go as kids, and I'll never forget there's something about being a kid and learning about something in a textbook and seeing something in a textbook that you can't even think of, you can't mentally picture it, as a kid, you're looking at something and you're like, wow, like what is that? How did that get built? How does that exist? And you can't put it together as a kid, just looking as a picture in a textbook. And then fast forward to a trip where, as far as you're going to see family. Yeah, that's cool. You go out one day and you get on a train and you're on the train ride, and then you get off the train and you're coming off the train and you're coming up the steps, and then you're kind of looking around and it looks cool and it looks real old, and it's like, man, like everything looks so old and vintage, but it's kind of cool. And then you turn around and this thing that you have only ever seen in a textbook, and you couldn't ever imagine how it was built. How could it possibly exist? Here's this thing standing in front of you as a kid, and you're just like, holy shit. And that's how I fell in love with Paris. The minute I stepped off that train, walked up the stairs, looked around, saw all these old buildings, and then when I turned around and standing directly in front of me was the Eiffel Tower, that was it. We used to go to Paris every couple of years or so. Again, we were fortunate to have family there, so it's really just a plane ticket, which was awesome. My parents would send us even if they didn't go. So the cool thing about it, we would either go during summer break or the holiday break. So if it's summer break, we're there for 2 whole months. If it's a holiday break, we're there for about a month. People are saying a month. Yeah, for a month. Well, I did go to Catholic school growing up. And back then, when I was growing up, now I did mention I celebrated my 40th birthday a few years back. I didn't give y'all the exact year, but y'all could do the math and get an idea of how old your boy is, right? So, um, growing up, when I was growing up, and the fact that I was in Catholic school, we would legit get a month off for Christmas and New Year's. I'd say, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like we'd probably only go to school about a week or two after Thanksgiving, maybe. We'd probably have off from like the second week of December through about the second or third week of January, if I'm not mistaken. So it'd be a long time. So my parents would take advantage of those breaks for us and send us off to go see different parts of the world, which I've always been so thankful for and so appreciative of, because it kind of goes to show what the sacrifice of a parent is. When we went when we went overseas to Europe, they weren't always with us. Thankfully for us, we did have family there. So once we got to the airports, our family would come pick us up, and we would stay with family for 2 months over the summer, or stay with family for a month. When it was feasible, my mom would come with us. My dad's not crazy about planes, so he never came. I still don't think my dad has ever been to Paris, actually, and it's his sister we're going to see. Like, picture that. Like, it's his sister. We're over there going all the time. Man, has he ever been? I got to think about that. I'll try to get back. I'll try to get an answer to you guys. But yeah, his sister said that my mom has family there as well. But growing up, it was primarily at my aunt's place, which is my dad's sister, that we would stay, because she had two boys, which were our age, too, a little bit younger. So that's where we would all stay. It'd be the best summers, man. Let me tell y'all, one time I told this story on an episode of the Inquisitive Nobody podcast. So one summer we're in Paris. And like I said, my cousins are younger than us, younger than me. So we're in Paris one summer. We're gonna go out and just be wild and reckless. First of all, my one cousin is on a scooter. This is back when scooters like first came out. Little straight up scooters, just chugging along. The Razors, kind of like the Razor scooters. Yo, he's booking it like fast. I'm like, bro, I can't go this fast on the scooter. Um, like, slow down. Like, we're all on scooters and bikes, a combination of scooters and bikes, and he's just booking it. I'm like, first of all, I don't know where I am. Second of all, I can't go that fast. I need you to slow down. So whatever, we're going. So we get to a spot, dropping the scooters off, boom, we're going through, get to these little lockers, take it off, boom, we at a pool. Okay, cool, no big deal. I got on some random shorts. I could just jump in the pool with the shorts, right? So at the pool, we're going. We do the whole process, going through the lockers and stuff, then go upstairs, and then you get this wide open, massive pool. All these kids out there just hanging out, having the best time, Awesome. So my cousins both book it. They run, boom, jump in, cannonball. So I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I run, go in, cannonball. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, yo, I'm older, right? I'm older than they are. They're younger, they're smaller. So it can't be that deep. They're jumping in with no problem. I could jump in with no problem. I didn't even put together the fact that, well, wait, motherfucker. You know damn well you don't know how to swim. Do you know that they know how to swim or not? Nope. Didn't even have that thought run through my mind. All I thought was, well, they're younger, they're smaller. So if they're jumping in cannonball style into this pool and they're okay, I should be able to jump into this pool cannonball style and be okay too. I was wrong. Both my cousins could swim without a problem. I, on the other hand, could not swim. So I remember jumping in, and the first thought in your mind immediately is like, holy shit, where's the floor? So I'm going down, and I'm like, oh man, I'm deep. So I could see like it's far up there. So I kick up, and I'm just splash, splash, and I can finally bob up to the top, and I'm screaming, help, 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 screaming top of my lungs, help, 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 you know. And I kind of go in there again, pop back up, help, help, help. Now I'm starting to think, well, why the fuck is nobody helping me? You know, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You're in another country, and they probably don't understand you. Yo, this shit was a mess, yo. So finally, my cousin notices. He come. Here comes my little baby cousin, noticing that my fat ass is fucking flopping around in the pool. Can't swim and shit to come drag me out, yo. It was the scariest and both the most humiliating shit possible. Like the fact that, hey, I almost died, but two, now, you know, my little baby cousin got to fish me out of the pool because I can't swim, you know? So, um, yeah, yeah, good times. But yes, ever since I started going to Paris from jump, I fell in love with it till this day. It is my absolute favorite city in the world. Another favorite of mine, fairly local, Key West. I absolutely love Key West. Everything about it. I love the fact that you can drive. Well, I can. Being that I'm in Florida, you know, it's not a crazy long drive. So to be able to drive to the Caribbean, that's what it feels like, right? That you could get into the car and drive into the Caribbean. Because once you get down to Key West, and I'm not talking the Northern Keys, you know, the Northern Keys are cool too, but I'm talking all the way deep down in the Key West, you know, like there's just a great vibe. There's this great Caribbean feel to it. Like, you know, there's a strong Haitian community that I didn't really know about until I got there and started having some amazing Haitian food. Just the vibe is great. You know, you've got chickens and whatnot, chickens and roosters walking around at random points, which is awesome because again, that gives me the vibe of the islands. You know, fresh seafood. Even though I'm not a seafood guy, I don't like seafood like that. But you know, a good fresh fried fish is always a-okay on my plate, you know. So everything about Key West I love just because I do love the Caribbean. Being Haitian, being from the Caribbean myself, obviously there's a love there, you know. So I love everything about Key West, specifically the fact that I can just drive there and get a taste of the Caribbean, you know. Now, speaking of the Caribbean, obviously, you know, Haiti is home. Haiti is always gonna be number one in my heart forever. I hate that obviously politically it's tough to get in and out now because I want my wife to know Haiti. You know, my wife is not Haitian, so I want her to be able to know Haiti, and I want my kids to be able to know Haiti. So I'm definitely looking forward to a time where I could take them there, hopefully sooner rather than later, so I can share my island and share my culture more with them, you know. So my other favorite spot in the Caribbean though is St. Thomas. Absolutely love and adore St. Thomas, everything about it. The moment you step foot on St. Thomas, everything is good in the world. All is good in the world. Like there's not a care. Some of the bluest waters I've ever seen. Some of the best fried fish I've ever had. Man, the rum punch should be punching. It's great vibes. Great vibes all the way around when it's when we're out on St. Thomas. So I love St. Thomas too. The most recent new addition to my absolute favorite places in the world is Colorado. I mentioned to you, we did that trip for my 40th birthday. We went out to Colorado, so we flew into Denver, and then from Denver we drove to Steamboat Springs. Right? Listen, so before I even get to Steamboat Springs, so Denver was dope. We didn't spend extended time in Denver, but Denver was dope. The two times we've been, good time there. Right? We spent some time in Colorado Springs. Got to do the Garden of the Gods. Garden of the Gods was absolutely beautiful, man. Spent some time there. Winter Park, we spent time in the Winter Park area. Winter Park, and then Granby as well. Granby is dope. We did some snowmobiling out in Granby and whatnot. A lot of different places that we've seen in Colorado in the few trips that we've made out there. But without a shadow of a doubt, Steamboat Springs, listen, if you want to see a real life town from a Hallmark Christmas card, go to Steamboat Springs, man. It is absolutely beautiful, man. First and foremost, just being in the mountains, you already know it's going to be snowy and beautiful, pristine, powdery white snow. You know, you see the smoke coming from the chimneys and whatnot on top of all the houses for as far as you can see. Great small town feel, mom and pop shops and whatnot, man. The vibes were great. Like the people, I felt like the people in the area, very nice, genuine folks too. Tons to do. We've only been in the wintertime, we definitely want to go. I want to go and experience Colorado in the summertime too, because I've heard that, as beautiful as it is in the winter, is just as beautiful in the summer. So I'm looking forward to that, taking advantage of like some of the lakes and stuff like that, right? But I'm hey, look, man, I'm a winter guy. I am here for the snow. I am here for the cold. I'm here for the blizzards, and you cannot beat Colorado when it comes to an amazing winter getaway. I remember we were snowmobiling. My son and I, we went snowmobiling. Um, Super cold, but that morning we woke up, and then I opened up the curtain, and it's snowing. And immediately in my mind, I'm like, I was taken to Christmas morning like a kid, like my grown ass 40-year-old self waking up in Colorado to see snow in February, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm 10 and it's Christmas morning. But the snow does that to me. I love, like, and if you want to see me look like a kid, you want the inner child to come out of Rick. You want to see little baby Rick, little toddler Rick. Catch me when it's snowing. I immediately shrink down to child Rick and just love everything about it. So yeah, waking up that morning to go snowmobiling with my son and looking out the window and seeing it snowing, and you've got the mountains in the background, and it was cold as fuck, yeah, but we had a blast, yo. Colorado's dope. Colorado got great food, breweries everywhere. That's another thing too. I love beer, I love whiskey, and Colorado, man, they do beer and whiskey very, very well. So yeah, that's why that is one of my newest additions to my favorite places in the world. So let me know, where do you guys like to go? Once again, man, hit the hit the comments. Let me know some of your favorite places to travel to. Maybe I'll add them to my list as well. Maybe I've been there. We could exchange some pointers and whatnot. So, but yeah, traveling extremely important. And like I mentioned before, if it's one thing I tell people, you celebrate your birthday and you travel, man. Go see the world. Take your PTO. A lot of people ain't taking PTO, which is wild to me. Like, why wouldn't you? Fucking crazy. So before I go, you already know I gotta add a track to the playlist. I'm gonna keep it real corny and generic. It is your boy's birthday, so you already know we gotta add 50 Cent in the club, cause oh go shorty, it's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Yeah. So once again, appreciate y'all for locking in with me, spending a little bit of time with me on my birthday. I wouldn't have it any other way. I know, short episode, but like I said, I just wanted to kick it with y'all today, spend a little portion of my birthday with y'all with a fresh episode, give y'all a little bit of this big Rick energy. Like I said, shout out to everybody who's been tuning in so far. Really, really appreciate you. I'm checking the feedback. I'm listening to the feedback. As you can see, y'all said y'all wanted me solo, just to hear what I had to say on my own and get to know about me a little bit. So I gave you some of that today, right? But like I said, we're going to have more doses of that coming up. I can promise you for sure. Got some great conversations coming up with some of my favorite people. As always, you already know, if you're on my show, it's because you are one of my favorites. So be on the lookout for some future episodes really, really soon. But as always, you already know, it's Rick of the Mr. Eccentric Podcast. Feel free to reach out to me whenever y'all want. You can hit me up on email. It's mrecentRick@gmail.com. That's MRESENTRIC@gmail.com. It's the same on every single form of social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube. Hit me up, man. Let me know what's up. One more time, I'm going to make a plea out to all my South American friends. Everybody I know who got friends and family in South America, please share the link with somebody. I'm going to be checking those stats. I need that to be the last continent that I conquer. That's the only continent that I do not have a listener in. Speaking of, let me just say, shout out to India. Randomly, and don't come for me. I know India is not a continent. I'm just saying, just because I'm talking about where I got listeners. Don't come for me in the comments, folks. But yo, shout out to India, for real. Of all of the international countries outside of the US, India is my strongest country. So I think I've got about 7% listener base in India, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to India. My listeners in India, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love that y'all appreciate the show and like it. Hit me up. Please reach out to me, man. Some of my, whoever is listening out in India, whoever's sharing my stuff in India, reach out to me on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever. Let me know. Let's chat, man. I'd love to be able to talk to y'all, all right? Appreciate the love from everybody. Thank y'all for the birthday wishes. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Until the next episode, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Have an amazing day. Have a drink for me too on my birthday. Y'all got plenty of time left in the day, man. Make sure y'all have a drink for me. If y'all do have a drink in my honor, please post it to your Instagram stories. Tag me. I'll repost it. Peace.
And the chance of MVP.